one last little tidbit on logic before we go from our introduction to logic. When we say, what is good reasoning? What exactly do we mean? Do we mean that it's good logic? Well, it depends on how you use that word logic, right? When we are using the word in this class, we're talking deductive logic, and that's a specific type of logic. Now, remember, when we said a deductive logic is valid, we said it's necessary. One thing that it is, it's necessary truth preserving. Does it mean that necessary truth preserving automatically is good reasoning? That's automatically a good way to reason? Well, remember we saw that there are different ways to be necessary truth preserving, right? So, for example, if I were to say this cup contains, I don't have a cup. Let's say this cup doesn't actually contain. It did contain kombucha, which is weird. Isn't that a weird drink, man? Kombucha. It doesn't taste good, but it does. I don't really know why. I love it, and I don't know why I love it. In any case, it's moldy tea, right? It's disgusting. In any case, it's not moldy. Don't sue me. It's not moldy. But let's say it contained water, right? And I said, this cup contains water, therefore this cup contains H2O. Now, factually, that is NTP, that is necessary truth preserving. Why? Because water just is H2O. So that argument is necessary truth preserving. But let's say I didn't know water was H2O. Would it be good reasoning for me to say, therefore, this cup contains H2O? I mean, it would be true, right? And if the premise was true, the conclusion would have to be true. But I didn't know that. So it would actually be a bad way for me to reason that way. It would just be dumb luck, right? Then we might wonder, well, remember, validity was necessary truth preserving, yes, but because of the form of the argument. So is it the case that so long as the form of the argument preserves truth necessarily, then it's good reasoning, right? Not necessarily, because a lot of times we don't argue that way. A lot of times we don't reason that way. There are other types of reasoning that we can do that aren't necessary truth preserving. One of them, for example, is called inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning, and I apologize, people. I know if you are a logician, you're going to hear this and, it's going to be fingernails. That was fingernails on the chalkboard. If you're young, you probably don't even know what chalk is. But I know it sounds terrible, but inductive reasoning, to be very, simplistic about it, is where you go from saying a bunch of things that are one way to saying all things must be that way, right? I look at this white swan, I look around and I say, man, all these swans are white. And then I conclude, therefore, all swans must be white. I notice I haven't proved that all swans must be white, right? But it's probably a good way to reason. It's something that, that I probably will be successful at in that conclusion. And a lot of times that's all we really need in the world, right? I mean, you can never prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that whatever food you're about to eat isn't poisoned. But can you live that way? No. I mean, you look at it and you say, most apples that I eat, or let's say all apples I've eaten that my mom have given me so far have not been poison. I'm going to say that this one is also not poison. Yep, not poison. Another way to do it is abductive reasoning. Now, abductive reasoning is, again, I know this is a simplistic definition, but abductive reasoning, they call it reasoning to the best explanation. This is like kind of murder mystery, right? You let's say you are a detective, and this is my magnifying glass, because detectives all use magnifying glasses, and you come across a room that can only be locked from the inside, and let's say you can't lock it from the inside and then close it behind you as you leave, right? So let's say it can only be locked from the inside and there's no other way to get in. You bust down the door and you see somebody has been shot, right? That person is holding the gun themselves in their own hands. They have all the marks of having shot it themselves. They leave a suicide note. They say, "I did it for sure." And you look around and there's no signs of anyone else having ever been in there, etc., etc. Do you know beyond the shadow of a doubt, not beyond the shadow of a doubt, do you know with absolute certainty that some ghost didn't show up and shoot that? No, you don't know that for absolute certainty. However, given all the facts, you have a really good idea of what just happened, right? You look at all the facts and you say, this is the best explanation of all these facts. That's abductive reasoning. Again, another good way to reason. So when we say deductive logic, that's a great way to reason. However, it's not the only good way to reason necessarily. So good reasoning doesn't necessarily mean being valid either. What does it entail? That is something for more of the philosophy of knowledge, epistemology, and that's something for the Philosopher channel. So check me out there. Anyways, it's been fun doing Introduction to Logic. Hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, check out my other courses on categorical logic, propositional logic, predicate logic. I'm going to get modal logic. We're going to do all kinds of fun logics, and look for them as they come out. Adios.